Okay, I'm gonna just take you through a few charts here that I think the stock's looking pretty good. This chart is SVNT, and what happened here was we broke way to the upside, came down and tested the breakaway, basically tested the base, and then on this big volume we had a big gap up. And that just means that there's a lot of demand for that stock. That's extremely bullish action. And actually, in my premium stock newsletter, what I did is we put a buy stop right above here, and we bought right at $10 a share, and we're holding that right now. This action is follow through, and then you can see as the market's pulling back here, the volume is low. That's a bullish sign. So I'm still expecting higher prices for SVNT. Now here, if we pull up the weekly chart of SVNT, we'll see how that looks. Let's see, that looks, to me, see how when it made the base, the volume was low, and then the breakout came on a strong volume. To me, that's classic market action that says this stock should head higher, because volume's the fuel that's going to drive it higher, and basically it's saying it's strong demand for this stock. Now we can throw a technical indicator on here, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like these 10-10 high-low bands. It's the 10-10 moving average of the highs and the lows. And on the weekly chart, see how this is completely above the bands? That means that the trend's up. So whether it will continue up, nobody knows. But right now, I think the odds are pretty good that it's going to stay in an uptrend. Okay, now let's take a look at another stock here. This is another one I like. FEED. Okay. Now here's one we bought in the newsletter too. We bought this one in my premium newsletter at around 3 something a share. It traded up to about $8 a share. Now it's pulled back to around $5 a share. But see, look at this. The more bars above the bands, and this is a weekly chart, the more bars above the bands, the more bullish the stock, and the more the odds are that it will continue higher. So this pullback to the bands on the weekly chart, I think is just a pullback to support, and I think it's going to find support here at the $5 area, and I think feed is going to continue higher. Now let's take the technical indicator off, and okay, we'll look at the volume on this one. I always look at the volume on stocks. On commodities, it's a little harder to tell volume, but on stocks, that's the first thing I look at. You see, as it made this base, the volume was low. Volume dries up on the base. That just means that there's just a lack of enthusiasm or whatever for the stock. And then you can see on the first move out of the base, nice volume, beautiful volume. FEED went sideways, volume went lower. That's classic volume action. That just means that buyers and sellers are fighting it out. And when FEED had its next thrust up, volume was strong, and then volume has been strong pretty much this whole rally. And now as it's making a pullback, you could just look at this as like a bull flag or something. Volume is going down, and that's bullish. So I consider higher prices ahead for feed. Look at one more real quick here. If I can remember the symbol, VVNT. Weekly chart. Oh gosh. I thought it was VVNT. No, VVTV. Okie dokie. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here's another one. Beautiful base. I mean, when they come out, and then when they come out of the base like this on huge volume, to me that just says, the buyers have taken control and this thing's going higher. Now, that's the weekly chart. Okay, we could put the 10-10 bands on there real quick. And let's see, I think it's just barely above the bands. It's not as much above the bands, but it is above. That means basically, oh, and here it went above the bands. So it came here, went above the bands, came here and tested the band, and shot up. To me, this is a bullish chart. We'll take a real quick look at the daily, and then we better wrap it up because these videos can only be so long. Okay, here's the daily chart of VVTV, and you can see that, above the bands, came and kind of tested the band, above the bands, kind of came back and tested the bands, and I think this stock is just, the bands are pointing up, and I think the stock's pointing up. And if we took the bands off the chart, the volume would look good, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to kind of stop the video here and call it a wrap. So thank you for watching my video on a few hot stocks, and this is Jim Robinson, ProfitTrading.com.